Hey, welcome back, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Good to see you again. Hope you guys are having an awesome week so far. I just want to give another update on what I've been working on and want to show a pretty cool little display tool I got set up to show the actual results in real time of the trading strategy across a number of different coins for the different versions of the strategy that I have running out there right now. So basically, what I ended up doing is I took the kind of JSON interface that I had set up to each one of the trading strategies and the paper broker, got a Python script going, and I'm just pumping the data into a Google spreadsheet every couple of seconds just to keep it updated, and added a little bit of formatting in here to make it look a little prettier. And then this way I can kind of compare results across the coins in real time and see how things are going. So basically what I have is two separate tables set up, one for the 2.0.0 version and one for the 2.1 version, where the balance was at midnight UTC. So that's the previous column, and then the current balance, and then calculating the P&L and percent P&L from there. And then this is updating every couple seconds using real-time data from the strategy. So pretty cool. I'm able to track this stuff in real time now. I'll share the link to this. So if anybody else wants to follow along with it, I've made a read-only version of this spreadsheet. You are more than welcome to check in and see how I am doing on my journey here to try to create a profitable market making algo to try to take 50 basis points a day out of the market. So some things I wanted to show. I had some issues with uncovered in the paper broker. So basically I'm trading this with real-time data, real-time order book, but I'm placing these trades in a mock account with a mock broker that I built. And let's see here. Let's show you guys where things kind of stood this morning. And as you can see here, we've got a 364% loss on one coin. And even though I have a 3% stop loss set up for each one of these coins, you can see here this one's at negative 7.82. So I was like, what the heck is going on here? How the hell did I get a 364% loss or negative 7% loss? How did this happen? How did the stop loss not get hit, and why did it happen on the 2.0 version, but the 2.1 version is still trading along, even though they're pretty much using the same implementation of the paper broker I created. So I created a kind of a video here. Let's see if I can get this going, of just my debug process. So at this point I had already restarted the Vine implementation, but I was going to go and see what happened with Whiff here. So basically I'm going through a file here that logs the account equity every minute, and along with the position sizes, trying to figure out where did the account equity take a dump. So I got the time that had happened, and it was roughly 5:30ish UTC, 5:30 a.m. UTC. So I was going through the log files trying to locate that particular time frame so I could see what was actually going on in the strategy when that happened. And what I saw was a ton of basically exceptions getting thrown when the strategy was attempting to read the order book. So I'm going back and forth here trying to figure out what exactly is happening. I'm taking a look at the bids and the asks, trying to figure out, okay, what time did these exceptions start getting thrown, and what happened leading up to those exceptions, and what time did the exceptions stop. So I'm taking a look at the bid ask amounts, and what I'm seeing is that basically, the bids and asks look normal up to a certain point. I'm scrolling through here, I'm looking at the account equity, trying to see when it went haywire, and then I see, oh, there were no bids in the order book. And then the bids came back, and then they were okay at that point. So for about a few seconds, the bids just disappeared completely. Then they came back for just a little bit, but the spread was really, really wide. And the problem is that this paper broker uses the midpoint of the bid-ask spread as kind of like a mark price to determine if it should get out of the market or not, like if the stop loss has been hit. And here we're seeing, yeah, the spread is like pretty wide at this point. It's like, almost 2%, and then it goes back to normal here. So the spread in the order book is roughly 2%. So yeah, so when that happened, the market, the paper broker was like, oh, okay, well, the midpoint's now moved way up. You're short. You've incurred over a 3% loss. So I'm just gonna basically exit you at the market now at this point. And so since the bid and ask was really not where it should have been. And the thing is with Vine and Whiff here, like these coins don't have a very robust market on Paradex. The order book isn't like super deep. So what I saw is roughly at the same time, both of these coins had this issue where the spread just blew out. Either one side of the order book disappeared or the other. And in the case of Vine, the asks just vanished. And there was an ask that was like, I don't know, Vine was trading, I don't know, 3.5 cents or whatever. There was an ask at 30 cents at that point. That was the best ask. And so the broker was like, oh, okay, well, the midpoint's like way more than 3. You're like way over your stop loss amount. So I'm just going to exit you at the market. It, places an order to cover the short position. The ask is 30 cents. So now it's sitting on a huge loss here. So that's what basically is happening with the paper broker on some of these more thinly traded coins on Paradex, is that I'm noticing I'm susceptible to these dislocations, temporary dislocations in the market, where the order book becomes very, very imbalanced. So I'm going to have to kind of rethink how to handle this so I don't continually get stopped out on these coins that are not as actively traded on this exchange. So basically what's involved now with this broker is like, I'll restart both of those coins and start them from zero, because in reality, they would not have gotten stopped out. But that's just kind of how my paper broker is handling that situation. So trying to figure out how to overcome that. But in the meantime, things seem to be moving along pretty well with this strategy tracking. As you can see today, the 2.0 version is pretty much dominating the 2.1 version. The big difference between these two is the 2.1 version is way more, gets way more passive when it detects the regime shift. So once it goes into long-term or uptrending mode or downtrending mode, it really doesn't quote one side of the market until it detects the trend has gone back to kind of a range-bound market. So that's the big difference between these two strategies. Now, what I've seen though is, at least this week, since I've been running these guys side by side, is the 2.1 version has been performing quite a bit better. So let me see if I can pull up the stats of that here. And where did I go? So I can see if we're fitting this stuff on the screen. So we can see the total daily amount between all of the sum of the days, and then the average for each day. So BNB is roughly similar. Bitcoin 2.1 has been performing better. Doge, both are negative, but 2.1 has been doing better. With Ethereum, these guys are pretty close, but the original version's better. And then some of these smaller coins, we can see we're getting quite a bit better on the 2.1 version. So Hype, Solana's been doing pretty good for the most part. Vine still slightly negative, and then Whiff has been doing well also. And then if we just straight up compare both versions and total up the amounts here for all the days, and then the average each day, total average across all the coins is -1.5% for the original version versus about 15 basis points average for this. So we didn't Haven't seen a ton of volatility yet since this been running these guys side by side. So we'll kind of see how things play out as I continue running these. And in the meantime, I'm gonna have to try to figure out this paper broker issue with some of these thinner traded coins and how I want to go about handling that, because I fully expect to see this issue come up again where something gets stopped out and it shouldn't be, and it's because the midpoint got dislocated for a few seconds while there weren't any orders on one side of the order book. So that's kind of what I got going on. I will go ahead and I'm going to post a tiny link, a tiny URL link for this spreadsheet. So if you want to just pop in and follow along, it should be hopefully running pretty much all the time. These numbers will reset at UTC, midnight UTC, and yeah, and we'll just kind of keep our eye on it and see how things play out. Now, we did have one coin that got stopped out today on both strategies. It got stopped out pretty quickly on hype today on the original version, and the 2.1 version held out for a bit longer, but then it got stopped out there as well. So, but again, what I'm seeing overall is I'm tending to see less positions get stopped out in the newer version. So I think things are in general heading in the right direction with this regime detection and getting in a more defensive posture with when things go into a trending mode. I don't know though if I'm going to need to come up with a bit more sophisticated rules around when to determine something is in a trending regime, because what I saw today I didn't necessarily like. Solana was in a pretty strong trend, and based on the rules that I have in place around regimes, it wasn't coming up. It's coming up still range bound, and you can see we're down almost 2% on Solana. Given that it's just trading its full basic position sizes now. And also the interesting thing too is the 2.0 version is actually positive today on that. So anyway, I'll drop the link below here in the description in the comments, and I'm also going to post it on the main page, and you guys can follow along and let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'll see you later. Bye.